Hi everybody, my name is Kim and welcome back to Bookmarks and Breadsticks. Hi and welcome back. Happy February. The snow is falling outside this afternoon in Chicago. Today I wanted to bring you a couple of book recommendations for Black History Month. Now obviously if you're new to my channel, I focus on everything in the food writing space. This includes food memoirs, food history, food travel, and everything in between. Now first, major disclaimer. Just because it's Black History Month doesn't mean that this is the only month you should be reading books by Black authors or books about the Black experience. We should be doing this all the time. We should always be diversifying our reading. I'm really proud because I've pushed myself to really try at least to read one book a month from someone who's not white. And I know that's not a lot to be proud of. It's something I should have been diversifying all of this time. But when I took a step back and evaluated how many white voices, predominantly white male voices there were in food writing, I really had to start looking. And sometimes it's hard to know where to start. We have to start somewhere. So I'm going to start by bringing you a list of food writing books that focus on the Black experience or are written by Black authors. Let's get started. Okay. Dr. Marcia Chatelain. I have reviewed this book on my channel. I'll link it in the cards either above or below, and compared it to another book in food writing about the Black experience. So Dr. Chatelain talks about franchise. This is a nod to McDonald's. It is about the role of McDonald's in the South of the United States, how it really played a role in the African American experience, both good and bad. This is a real part of American food history, and I found this book really fascinating. I listened to it, as an audiobook, and I follow the author on Instagram. She's very politically active, and starting with this book led me to a lot of other Black authors. So sometimes just following an author as well on Instagram can help you find other books to be inspired by. The next two books are by the same author. They are both by Jessica B. Harris. I just wrapped, my January wrap-up hasn't been published yet, I believe, on this channel. I don't know what order these videos are going to get posted. So High on the Hog is a culinary journey from Africa to America by Dr. Harris. So a little context about Dr. Harris. She has a James Beard Lifetime Achievement Award for her work in food writing within the United States. Globally, she is just one of the OGs of food writing and writing about the Black experience. She has numerous cookbooks, African American recipes, different parts of Africa. I don't know all of them offhand, so forgive me if I'm not pinpointing to specific geographical locations. Dr. Harris then started to write food writing books like High on the Hog. I just finished this book, so it's top of mind, and I really enjoyed all of these little nuances about mannerisms, about how Americans eat, that really derive from the slaves who then later became free people. Dr. Harris narrates all of her own audiobooks, so if you want to listen to a beautiful voice and someone whose soul is so imparted in these words, I really recommend. This is, again, I would consider something more along food history and also slightly food, world, and travel, because it does talk about Africa to America and the Atlantic slave trade and the impact around that. The other book by Dr. Harris is actually her memoir, My Soul Looks Back. And this is Dr. Harris talking about her life. She starts around the 1970s and Black intelligent, I'm not going to say this word right. I'll read the back for you. That'll be probably a smarter idea. Jessica B. Harris and the Black intelligentsia of the day ate, drank, and danced their way from the exotic restaurants of Greenwich Village to the jazz clubs of the Upper West Side of Manhattan. Against the backdrop of the changing city, an American place on the cusp of becoming an international hotspot, Harris recalls the intimate details of her glamorous friends' lives. James Baldwin, as he read aloud an early draft of If Beale Street Could Talk, Maya Angelou cooking in her California kitchen, and a chance encounter with Nina Simone on the Ivory Coast. Framed by Harris's relationship with Sam Floyd, Baldwin's best friend and master of revels, this is an extraordinary memoir of friendship and first love, the story of the glittering lives of renowned thinkers, the bond shared intellectual and creative goals, and a bohemian city lost to time. So I really recommend Dr. Harris. She has plenty of other books, plenty of other cookbooks as well if you want to learn more recipes. So that's 3 books so far. 3 more that I have read, and then I have 2 more that are on my current TBR. I have talked about The Cooking Gene by Michael Twitty. Michael Twitty, I compared, I believe, his book to, or did a comparison, and compare and contrast, excuse me, to The Pot Liquor Papers by John T. Edge. So Michael Twitty is a Black gay Jewish chef from the United States, and this book maps American culinary tradition, focusing on slaves. He focuses also on his family history. He has used DNA to map all of the different elements of his life. Michael Twitty has a new book coming out next year called Rice, and I believe there's one other coming out in 2022. Everything's been delayed due to COVID. I just sat in a lecture with him Monday night about the relationship of food and the Black experience in America. Twitty's great. I recommend following Twitty on Instagram or Twitter if you still use it. I don't use Twitter anymore. I really love him. I'll read the back for you because I really want you guys to read this. Southern food is integral to the American culinary tradition, yet the question of who owns it is one of the most provocative issues in our ongoing struggles over race. In this unique memoir, Twitty takes readers to the white-hot center of this fight, tracing the roots of his own family and the charged politics surrounding the origins of soul food, barbecue, and all Southern cuisine. Rounding out the list of books I have read that I want you to read about the Black experience in the food world, Yes, Chef by Marcus Samuelsson. Marcus Samuelsson is a really interesting man. He is someone who was adopted into a Swedish family. He learned to cook from his grandmother, and then eventually he came to America and became one of the most predominant chefs, Black chefs in the United States. He is Ethiopian, and a trip back to Ethiopia really ignites this passion for understanding his heritage and that cuisine, and combining it with Swedish food and some of his classic French culinary cooking. Really love Marcus Samuelsson. You'll see him now in some kind of culinary ambassador role with Bon Appetit, and I have seen him host you'll probably have seen him on many different shows like Top Chef or on the Food Network. Really beautiful memoir. Very powerful. I read this, highly recommend it, and yeah, loved it a lot. Yes, chef, which is yes, chef is a very common phrase when you are in the culinary world, especially working on the line. In the French tradition, you'd say, oui, chef. Yeah. Notes from a Young Black Chef by Kwame Onuachi. This is one of my favorite books I read in 2019. I have to read the inside cover for you. But first, I have to say, what I love about this book is it's still, I don't know if you probably can't tell. I don't know if it'll focus. It's a bound book. Like, you can see the edges of the pages are not actually perfect. I'm giving up because there it goes. See how they're not perfect? I love that about this book. I love when books are still bound together in bundles. Anyway, by the time he was 27 years old, Kwame Onuachi had opened and closed one of the most talked about restaurants in America. He had launched his own catering company with $20,000 that he made from selling candy on the subway, yet he'd been told he would never make it on television because his cooking wasn't Southern enough. In this inspiring memoir about the intersection of race, fame, and food, he shares the remarkable story of his culinary coming of age. I don't want to give more away because there's so much that goes on in Kwame's life that is just powerful and beautiful. At points he does travel back to his home. Well, he was born in the United States, but he travels back to Nigeria. He grew up in the Bronx. He got involved with drugs and gangs. There's so much. I need to stop talking because I'll give it away. Really, really recommend this book. I love reading having Yes Chef and Notes from a Young Black Chef side to side because Kwame's 27 and he's written this memoir. Marcus Samuelsson's older when he's written this memoir, but even though they're so different, some of the racism and the struggles that these two chefs, these gentlemen face, so universal and so painful to read. But so beautiful and really important to read. Okay, that was 6 books I've already read that I feel confident recommending to you as part of my Black History Month recommended reading for nonfiction books in the food writing space. Basically, nonfiction books that don't just focus on slavery and racism. 2 books that are on my upcoming TBR. This book is actually on my February TBR. This is Hog and Hominy, Soul Food from Africa First book I recommend, but it's on my TBR, so I haven't finished it yet. Hog and Hominy, Soul Food from Africa to America by Frederick Douglass Opie. This is about foodways of people of African American descent throughout the United States. He has been noted as a companion or contemporary to the likes of Dr. Harris. I'm very excited to read it this month. And then later in the year, I am buddy reading this with Amanda over at the Curly Reader. I've talked about it before, Black, White, and the Gray. This is a dual memoir and the story of an unexpected friendship and a beloved restaurant. This is by Mashama Bailey and John O. Morisano. This book is about the Gray, a restaurant that is now currently inhabits what used to be a former Greyhound bus station and still keeps some of the old scars and relics that show that this space used to be segregated, blacks and whites. And it's really powerful because the head chef is a black female chef. I cannot wait to read this. I'm very excited Amanda wants to read it with me. Make sure you follow her over at the Curly Reader. Okay, that is 8 different books in food writing that I recommend as potential reading during Black History Month. As a reminder, you don't have to just... As a reminder, you should try... As a reminder, we should be reading from diverse authors all year round, but this is just a list to help encourage you guys and get started. If there's any books on here that you are interested in, but maybe it's your first time in food writing and you want a buddy reading partner, I'm your girl. Hit me up in the comments below. If you haven't already, I would love for you to hit like and subscribe and be part of my bookish family and tune in for the next episode. I hope you're well, wear a mask, and have a good day. Bye.